Ask most people where romantic love comes from, and they'll tell you it's a cultural invention, a modern fairy tale, or some inexplicable magic unique to Western societies. But the historical record tells a different story. In the 19th century, several strict utopian communities decided that romantic love was a threat to social order. The Oneida Society, the Mormons, and the Shakers all tried to legally and culturally outlaw romantic attachment, demanding absolute devotion to the group instead. Looking at the stark uniformity of the Mount Lebanon Shakers, you can see a society engineered to stamp out individual desire. Yet in every single one of these tightly controlled societies, romance survived. It went underground. People broke rules, risked exile, and met in secret to protect their relationships from the harsh eyes of their elders. You cannot culturally erase a biological instinct. Love stubbornly persists against all attempts to banish it because it is a hardwired piece of human machinery. To understand why it's there, we have to look back to when early humans split off from our closest primate relatives. For chimpanzees, mating is restricted to a highly visible window of time when the female enters estrus. Outside of that window, males are largely indifferent. But in humans, ovulation is concealed. The physical cues disappeared, meaning mating could happen year-round. At the exact same time, human babies began demanding an enormous amount of energy to survive. A single mother could no longer gather enough calories and provide enough physical protection on her own. She needed a dedicated partner to stick around and invest heavy resources for decades. This created a massive vulnerability for our ancestors. They absolutely required a biological mechanism to guarantee long-term pair bonding. From a purely economic standpoint, long-term mating is incredibly risky. If early humans operated on cold rationality alone, a partner would abandon you the moment someone slightly healthier or wealthier came along. Evolutionary economist Robert Frank recognized this problem. He argued that human brains needed to install a psychological override, an irrational commitment device that ignores cold logic and binds two people together through sickness and health. This diagram illustrates the core of that override, a concept biologists call fitness interdependence. It measures the exact degree to which two individuals positively influence each other's ability to survive and replicate. You are quite literally tethering your genetic success to someone else. That interdependence reaches its absolute peak under very specific conditions: mutually produced children, strict monogamy, and physical distance from other genetic relatives who might compete for your pooled resources. When you hit those conditions, your brain rewards you. The intoxicating emotion we experience as love is a chemical opioid system, engineered by evolution to ensure we never abandon our shared investments when times get tough. While the capacity for this emotion is universal, the underlying code runs a little differently depending on your sex. The biological costs of reproduction simply aren't the same for men and women. Historically, a man's reproductive success hinged heavily on visual cues of fertility, specifically youth and physical health. Because these traits can be assessed instantly, men are wired to experience love at first sight at much higher rates. For women, the calculus requires far more caution. A single act of mating initiates a 9-month pregnancy, a staggering physical toll, and years of nursing. With costs that high, female psychology evolved to deeply intertwine love with sex. It demands a longer courtship, testing a partner's devotion, resources, and commitment before granting reproductive access. Men attach rapidly to visual cues. Women test for enduring commitment. These are different psychological algorithms designed to solve the exact same problem, securing the highest possible reproductive payoff. Securing a valuable reproductive resource is only half the battle. Evolution is a ruthless, highly competitive arena, and whatever you acquire must be protected, sometimes violently. Enter jealousy. We often treat it as a character flaw or a symptom of insecurity. In reality, it is a highly functional alarm system designed to guard the inner sanctum of a relationship against interlopers. This chart visualizes an evolutionary catastrophe. Losing a partner to illness or fate is painful, but losing a mate to a rival is a double whammy. Your genetic legacy plummets to zero, while those exact same resources flow directly into the hands of a competitor. Jealousy evolved specifically to prevent that ultimate genetic defeat. It is the defensive hardware designed to preserve exclusivity at all costs, and that defense system gets tested daily under the harsh metric of the mating market: If a couple starts out with equal status, but one partner suddenly experiences a massive spike in success, their market values wildly diverge. Take the classic Hollywood dynamic. When Meg Ryan's career skyrocketed past her husband Dennis Quaid's, the balance of their pair bond shattered. That widening gap opened up mating opportunities that were previously out of reach, prompting her to trade up to a rising star like Russell Crowe. When a mate is permanently lost to a rival, the searing psychological pain of mating failure can trigger something far darker than a standard breakup. In extreme cases, the brain's evolutionary logic calculates that destroying the resource is preferable to letting a rival claim it, leading to a lethal outcome. We like to think of love as a warm, fuzzy emotion, but beneath the poetry is an exquisitely honed survival mechanism. It is the master biological tool that built human society, equipped with lethal safeguards to protect our genetic legacy.